We are just a few days out from the 60th annual 2024 Mr. Olympia, where we're gonna have 58 qualified Olympians walking across that stage in Las Vegas. With the absence of people like Brandon Hendrickson, Kyron Holden, Jeremy Buendia, Jeremy Potvin, Carlos Delaverio, Sadiq Hadzovic, and Andre Ferguson, it's safe to say there's a lot of opportunity for young and hungry competitors to make a name for themselves, while also giving opportunity for those to solidify their legacy. But before we get into this, I want to start by emphasizing this is solely for entertainment. If you're an athlete walking across that stage, turn off this video right now, because these predictions mean absolutely nothing. And the best part about bodybuilding is that it's an any given Sunday sport. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. With that being said, I'm gonna give you guys my top 10 men's physique predictions with 5 dark horses who can easily jump into that conversation, starting off with number 10 in Absai Pierce. When they say men's physique is a look, Absai has that look. His structure and flow of his physique allow him to stand out on stage and expose others for what they don't have. If he can bring an improved conditioning and fill out the big frame that he has, I cannot imagine him not being within that top 10, especially after a crazy year in 2024. Being an active competitor who stands on stage and has friendships with a lot of the guys that I cover, I try my best to stay positive, unbiased, and honest. Originally, I was planning to exclude myself from this list to eliminate the thought of viewers thinking that I was just simply being biased. But then I realized that would just be me not being honest. With that, I truly believe that I can and will be in the top 9 at this year's Mr. Olympia. My size, my structure, my height, my flow, my balance, my overall presentation, and with the much improved conditioning that I will bring will allow me to stand out in a large pool of athletes. And if I nail my peak, which has been my downfall in my last few shows, I can be in that top conversation. And coming in at number 8, we had Edvon Palmero. Bigger isn't always better, and Edvon Palmero learned that the hard way. After placing 5th at the Olympia in 2022 and then putting on a lot of muscle in 2023, causing him to fall back to 11th place, Edvon and his coach completely reinvented himself going into the 2024 season. And how did he do so? Very simple. Addition by subtraction. Edvon streamlined his look once again, but managed to keep a lot of the improvements in the areas that he needed, like his back, for example. If Edvon brings that 2022 conditioning where he finished 5th place at the Olympia, I'm telling you guys right now, with the improvements that he's made and the overall polished look that he brought to the New York Pro stage, with the imagination of him only getting better and better and better, I truly believe he will finish at least 8th place at this year's Olympia. And coming in at number 7, we have Vitor Chavez. In 2022, Vitor placed 13th at the Olympia, and in 2023, he placed 9th. And if you follow that trend of his career, Vitor has only improved in placings in almost every single show that he has done ever since he first came out on the scene. And I see no reason for that trend to stop. He has made the necessary improvements that the judges wanted to see, mainly in his back, and he seemingly controls his midsection significantly more, showing less distension at the New York Pro. And now, having more time under the guided eye of Coach Cuts, it only makes sense that he's going to get better and better as they continue to do more shows, and that includes this year's Olympia. Again, 13th, 9th place, and then coming here at the 2024 Olympia, I have Vitor breaking into that top 7. And coming in at number 6, we have Emmanuel Hunter. And guys, I don't know what it is. I just feel like so many people this season have completely written Emmanuel Hunter off, and people forget just how dangerous he can truly be. And we've seen that just last year at the 2024 Mr. Olympia. Emmanuel is extremely balanced, has probably one of the widest backs that I have ever seen in my life, and also has crazy fullness. There's not many people who can stand next to him muscle density wise, but also balance wise, right? Front to back. If Emmanuel can bring in that next level of conditioning, he won't just be 6th place. He will be much higher than that. And if he can bring in that detail through the back, he's going to expose so many people. And a lot of the recent updates that I have been seeing, it seems like he is much further ahead of where he was when he completely shocked the world last year by placing 4th at the Olympia. So I am not writing Emmanuel off. I truly believe he can be much higher than 6th place, but there's a lot of guys on this list who have shown a little bit more consistency, and that's the only reason. Again, Emmanuel has a very high ceiling and he has a lower floor, but even that floor is putting him in that top conversation. But nonetheless, Emmanuel Hunter placing 6th place at this year's Olympia. But keep your eye out. He could easily easily jump into that top 3. And coming in at 5th place, we have your 2024 Arnold Classic champion in Diogo Montenegro. And guys, Diogo has been a model of consistency, at least in terms of his placings over the past 5 years. Again, third place, and then seemingly falling back just a little bit last season. But after now showing a much improved package at this year's Arnold Classic, if he continues that trend, I cannot see him out of this top 5. It just wouldn't make sense. Why? Because he has one of the best structures in men's physique. And not only that, I think a lot of people don't realize just how good of a back he actually has. He doesn't have one of those backs that cause him to stand out like a Manuel Hunter or even a Cory Morris or Aaron Banks, but he has a back that can really stand next to anybody and still put him in a conversation. But where he makes his money is his structure. Where he truly then allows himself to separate from everybody else is when he brings in that next level of conditioning, mainly through the midsection. Because he's conditioned, he just isn't necessarily as detailed. But we've seen shows where he can get that midsection detailed. So with that, I truly believe if he could do that, again, he will be minimally 5th place, if not higher. Like I said, there's a lot of people not doing this year's Olympia, and those who actually were giving him a run for their money, right? So now that those guys aren't here, he could easily move up. Easily. I mean, let's be real. I mean, it's probably likely, but he does have to control that variable, because he has been consistently inconsistent in his career. And even though his floor is still so high, it's going to be very hard for him to beat a on version of the next 4 that I have on this list. And coming in at 4th place, we have your 2024 New York Pro Champion and 2024 Pittsburgh Pro Champion in Ali Bala. And guys, let's be real. There's a lot of eyes on Ali Bala. And the cool thing about him is he invites it. Like, he wants people to pay very close attention to him. He wants that added pressure because he is so confident in his ability to deliver on that pressure. One of the coolest things about Ali Balal's story is that just last season, he placed 16th at the Olympia. And now there's a lot of people having him in a conversation to even win it. Now, do I think Ali Bala is going to win this year's Olympia? It's definitely not impossible. And the reason I say that is because if you look at Ryan Terry and you look at Ali Bala, their strengths are very similar and their weaknesses are very similar. They don't have the best backs on stage, but they have elite level of conditioning and elite level of detail. But I actually think Ali Bala actually shows off his physique a little bit better than our current champion does. You know, I think he emphasizes his overall taper a little better through his posing. But Ali Bala has truly impressed me, not only with his most recent updates, but just simply the way that he's carried himself throughout this entire season. He's ready. You can tell. So this year's 2024 Olympia, I have Ali Bala finishing no lower than 4th place. And coming in at 3rd place, we have Cory the Delt King Morris. And guys, over the last handful of years, I never felt like Cory has truly gotten his just due. I think that Cory is somebody who controls his variables so well that even an off version of Cory is still a version that can beat majority of guys on any given day. And now with the recent updates that I've been seeing, I just can't see Cory being off. And if Cory is just 100% on this day, I mean, he can't be any less than 3rd. It just wouldn't make sense in my head. Cory has one of the smallest waistlines I've ever seen, one of the widest shoulders I've ever seen. He fills out his big structure, probably one of the biggest and most detailed backs on that stage. Like, the only thing I can think of why Cory might not be in that 1 or 2 spot is just because, like, he has such a unique physique. It's just almost like, it's hard to compare, you know, like, that's the only thing I can think of, because like when he is by himself, or even when he's compared to everybody else, it's just, he stands out. You know, he just has so much freak factor to his look. And I think sometimes the men's physique division is more of a polished look, but I've always been a fan of Cory's physique, and I never thought that he truly got the placings that he's deserved. And that's the only reason I can conceptualize on why. But this year, I have Cory placing 3rd, minimally. But with a lot of the guys not being in that conversation, and from what we've seen of Cory Morris lately, he could be much higher. And just like that, we are now down to our top 2 finalists. And in Olympia's tradition, we're going to bring out both guys to center stage, and we are going to allow Bob Ciccarello to do the honors.
Please take the first place award, the Olympia gold medal, the check for $50,000, and the title of Men's Physique Olympia Champion to our winner, and New Olympia champion, Aaron Banks.
And your 2024 Olympia champion will be Aaron Banks. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, it's because I have a friendship with Aaron. We have a podcast together, yada, yada, yada. Guys, I've been saying this for a very long time. Aaron has the highest ceiling in men's physique. Aaron has also been inconsistent in maximizing his fullest potential, but we have seen him do so at multiple different shows this year. And after seeing him at Dubai this year, it's safe to say if he brought that same package, he won't win. But you can clearly see the improvements that he made from 2023 to 2024 at the Dubai Pro in terms of muscularity. And now, if he can bring in that conditioning that he brought in 2022, it's going to be lights out. Aaron is somebody who is very hard to beat, and an off version of Aaron is minimally third best in the world. We just saw it last year. But, if he does control all of his variables with his posing, with his conditioning, with his fullness, with the balance that he has from front to back, guys, Aaron Banks will be your 2024 Mr. Olympia champion, and he will regain his title. And your 2024 runner-up will be Ryan Terry. And guys, it's hard for me to say that because people don't realize how much of a fan I am of Ryan Terry, and more importantly, like how much of a fan I am of him as a man, you know, obviously as a competitor, but as a leader for this division. You know, like I am somebody who focuses on creating content to uplift and bring positivity and awareness to the division. And Ryan does that better than anybody. And he has probably been the best men's physique champion that we have ever had. But me being unbiased and taking that step back, if both are 100% on, I truly believe Aaron Banks will edge him out. But if Aaron doesn't bring in that detail that Ryan will inevitably bring, he will not stand a chance next to Ryan. But if Ryan doesn't bring in that fullness that he brought in 2023, then I'm telling you guys right now, standing next to people like Aaron with the new added muscle, he will get exposed. So that's the best thing about this year's Olympia. As you guys can tell, I said multiple times that this person can jump this person, and because that's the reality of it. It's just completely up in the air. That's what is so good about the Olympia. They don't care who you are. They just care what you look like on that day. You know, not what you've done for me in the past, but what are you doing for me right now? You know, when my eyes are on you. And I think both of these guys could beat each other on any given day. I mean, we've seen it. But if everybody is 100%, which from hearing the confidence that I see in Aaron, I do believe he is. And the same thing with Ryan. I mean, he's been posting, he's been confident, he's been in a good headspace, he's been down in the US for a while, right? I think that these guys are going to probably have one of the craziest battles of all time in men's physique, and probably can start a rivalry starting this season. But nonetheless, that is your 2024 Olympia predictions. But before you get out of here, I want to give you guys 5 dark horses who I want you to keep your eye out for, because these guys are easily able to jump anybody in this list if they are 100% on, starting with the legend in George Brown. Guys, let's take a quick second to understand that this is George Brown's last Olympia. Soak that in. This man is a legend. So not only has he been a legend because of the level of consistency that he brings, but he's a legend because he's still fucking dangerous. Like, he is still in that conversation at every single show that he ever does. And it's not going to change this time, especially with the caliber of athletes who are not competing. You know, George is somebody who controls every single variable, and some of the updates that he's been posting looks nasty. It doesn't even feel right calling George a dark horse, but nonetheless, George Brown is definitely somebody you need to keep an eye out for. And next up, we have Miroslav. After placing second at the Dubai Pro, he's been put on everybody's radar. Standing next to Aaron Banks, it looked like he actually was beating Aaron in a lot of small little areas. Even though that wasn't the 100% version of Aaron, it doesn't change the fact that Miroslav is somebody who controls his fullness very well, his conditioning level very well. With this being his first Olympia, I can only imagine how focused and motivated he is to bring his all-time best. Now, if he can do that, I'm telling you guys right now, like, this might be the guy who easily breaks into that top 10, but he just needs to make sure that he brings as much fullness as he can in his back, because that's the one thing that he doesn't have. And when it comes to the Olympia, balance is everything. And the next guy you have to keep an eye out for is Quill Marney, a guy who just came off of a win at Daytona, got data, collected the data and is now putting it in action in order to bring a much improved package to the Olympia. So he's now riding a momentum off of a win. He has the stress of not having to worry about next year's Olympia because he's already qualified. And if you see some of these updates, crazy. Dude just looks like his body has just turned into a furnace ever since he stepped off stage at Daytona. And again, men's physique is a look. Ben has that look. So if he can just nail the peak, like the fullness, the conditioning, there's no doubt those people are going to get rewarded, especially at the Olympia. And next up, we have Jovin Bon. Now, I've seen Jovin in person a lot, and he has been somebody who's always impressed me. Dude is one of the most bubbliest, biggest guys I've ever seen, but he's never placed high at the Olympia, and I never truly understood why, because I think his updates were always crazy going into the Olympia, but I don't think they've ever been this crazy. And I might be letting social media kind of hype me up about this, but dude looks insane online, and I just can't imagine him just not being in that like second, third call out. So with that, I do have Jovin as a dark horse. And again, somebody who's clearly coming in condition, right? I think the only thing is he might be almost like too big for the division, if that's still a thing. Like, I think he's still a little too dense, even though he's going to make the weight cap. I just think that now with a new coach in Cuts, they can put something together that can truly allow him to separate himself from the previous versions of himself. And last but certainly not least, we have Drew Cullen. I think a lot of people forget that Drew placed top 20 last year. And I know top 20 is, you know, whatever, but 16th and on doesn't necessarily get ranked, but third call out is still very impressive. And he was in the middle of the third call out. Don't forget, there's like 70 guys at each Olympia nowadays. So placing in that third call out is very impressive. So being a top 20 athlete, men's physique athlete in the world, again, you guys got to keep an eye out for people like that. And Drew has improved dramatically. And I've seen it hand over fist, especially in the back department, which has always been his weakness. He's always been Mr. Condition. He's always been somebody who controls his variables on stage, great structure, right? But if he brings that back density up, guys, it doesn't make sense that he can't just go from a third call out easily into a second call out, especially with the guys who aren't competing this year. So keep an eye out for people like this, because I'm telling you guys right now, Drew is definitely going to control his variables and make sure that he is stepping on the Olympia stage in 2024, the best he has ever had. And that is a wrap on the 2024 Men's Physique Olympia predictions. And guys, it's crazy to sit here and think that we are just a few days out from the Olympia. The season is almost at a close, and I want to make sure that I emphasize this, guys. I cannot thank you guys enough on the love and support that you guys have shown on this channel over the last handful of months, ever since I just started the men's physique coverage. Everybody in this division, I truly believe, is just underrated. And when I mean underrated, I mean undervalued, because I think the division and the people in the division, the characters in this division, need to be highlighted more. And that's what we try to do on this channel. So if you are a fan of men's physique, make sure you like, you subscribe, you comment, stay positive, comment, and continue the conversations from these videos below, because this is how we're going to continue to grow this channel and grow this division. And I want to make sure that we can get as many people become fans of this division. But as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And until the next video, peace.
Action, I'm the main attraction.